Hello everyone. Today we want to take a look at Barcelona against Getafe. This game was so intense for Barcelona because they had to deal with a man-to-man situation when Getafe was doing a high press in the pitch. So Alba and Roberto would stay so wide, and then here was Busquets to help the backline, but Maximovic would come here to have a man-to-man situation here, and then Arambari here, he is with De Jong. Of course, they had a high line pressing. This was the line of pressing, and then in these situations, Arthur was a Freeman, and so this player or sometimes this player would come here, and they had the back three man-to-man situation with the strikers. So risky, but since they didn't have Suarez, it was really easy for them because of course we saw Griezmann having lay off balls so many times, but this was how they structured the game. This player, the defender, the right back, actually he did have a problem because he had a dilemma. Okay, should I go here, take care of Ansu Fati, or should I go here? This made a little dilemma and delay in making decisions. So Arthur could have the ball earlier by moving earlier and reaching this position, which was half space. But as you can see, number 15 here, which is Cocorella, had a different situation. He wasn't always man marking Sergio Roberto. When things changed, Ansu Fati would come here in a kind of 4-4-2 formation, like here. Cocorella would come here. These players would take care of him. Sergio Roberto was a Freeman. Of course, shifting was not an option for Barcelona because it was so hard for them to shift the ball in time, and Cocorella had the speed, had the pace to get to Sergio Roberto. And of course, Barcelona had some answers. Now we are going to take a look at what were Barcelona's answer to this pressing. One of the answers that Barcelona had was that using Messi or other players to break this man-to-man situation. Because Ter Stegen was involved in the game, there was always one man free for Barcelona in a man-to-man pressing, because this player, the goalkeeper for Getafe, couldn't come here and man mark other players, the free player. That is why so many times we saw that Messi coming back to the midfield, because it was a high press for midfield. There was a lot of space here for Messi, so he would come here and then take the ball in the space which was really open. It was a man-to-man situation, and so midfielders would free the space for Messi or Griezmann to come here and take turn. Of course, a defender would actually follow Messi, but because of the Freeman situation, there was always a player, sometimes Sergio Roberto or De Jong here with these movements. That is why now we can understand that De Jong had these movements, because when Messi came in here, Oliveira would follow him, and then it was the space behind Oliveira which Sergio Roberto and De Jong used so much. This is what happened in the second goal for Barcelona, which Sergio Roberto moved here, and then the defenders, they treated back here as they had their actually low pressing situation, the defensive style. So when he came here, Griezmann and Messi, they were already here, and here which was Firpo, not Jordi Alba. Let's take a look at this. So it was the situation for Barcelona. Ansu Fati was so in to create a space for Alba or Firpo to move here. Sergio Roberto passed the ball to Messi. Messi is the right foot player, and then Arthur here, which we will talk about him, and then he passed the ball to Arthur to Firpo, and then here is Sergio Roberto, which Cocorella had no idea that he would run here. He ran in the blind side of Cocorella, and Firpo passed the ball to him, and he actually scored the second goal. This was one of the answers. It led to a goal for Barcelona, and now we want to see how they did it, not in low pressing but in high pressing, how Barcelona managed to run from the press. Now this is a high pressing situation again for Getafe, a man-to-man situation, but Barcelona had to deal with it to run from the press. So Dion would come here, Arambari behind him, and then here Sergio Busquets. So Ter Stegen couldn't pass the ball right into Umtiti because Mata was here to press Umtiti, or as well as PK, and then he had this route, Busquets to Umtiti, Ter Stegen, Dion to PK. This was good for them because when the ball was in transition, Molina could take care of the ball. He had to look at the ball, where is the ball. Then in blind side, Piqué would move here. Let's take a look at this in these situations. What is the so look at here. This is Piqué, who was running behind Molina. This is Molina. He was taking a look at the ball. This is Molina. He was looking at the ball. Piqué was behind him, and because De Jong was a right foot, it was really easy for him. But here is what Getafe would do again. Answer for an answer. They would make these blocks to not allow Piqué to have these straight balls, vertical balls to Messi, who would come here, dragging defenders, and then those situations that we talked about before this scenario. So they would make blocks like this. And of course in the left side too, where Ansu Fati was here, they had to stop Umtiti to pass the ball to Ansu Fati. So this is the situation. You can see Busquets to Umtiti. Umtiti run in the blind side, then having a block situation to stop passing to Ansu Fati, who was sometimes real wide in the high pressing situation. So what should Umtiti do here? Most of the times he would come with the ball. Of course his passing lanes were closed, but he would come with the ball, using the ball, moving forward. That is why they actually Getafe conceded the second goal. I told you that a man-to-man situation, you can drag the defenders, those who press you, very easily by just dragging them. Okay, you want to come with me? Okay, come with me here. You are out of the game. Just come with me. You want to follow me everywhere? Follow me. Umtiti came along here, and then here was Messi, and here is Getafe, which would have a 5-3-2 formation sometimes, or 6-2-2 formation. So you would come here. It was Messi. Umtiti came here, and then Arthur had this situation, and Griezmann here, he was here, and Ansu Fati took care of this player, and then other players just it is Setien, it is in Setien's team. You can see that they actually vacuum the space in the middle just for Messi or other players who are creative. And this is what happened a lot of times in the game. This is Setien's main feature, that he just creates space, especially in this situation, a man-to-man situation. And then he had the ball, this player came along because it was a man-to-man situation, and then Griezmann runs in behind. So you can see two main features in Setien's team, in Barcelona's answer to man-to-mans, in a man-to-man defensive. When Getafe was doing a man-to-man, okay, you want to man-to-man, I am dismarking you. They did it a lot of times. They actually Barcelona's attackers, they did it a lot of time. Dismarking, taking care of the space and actually getting distance from the player who is dismarking you, and then running in behind. You can do like this, Messi dismarking and then Griezmann runs in behind, or you can do both of them, which is like this. For example, Arthur had the ball here, and then Messi would come here, first here, then a run behind this player, which actually Messi did in the game. He chipped the ball, but the goalkeeper actually could take the ball very easily. So we can see another thing in Barcelona's play, which is Arthur. He's really good in this situation. Of course, Dion can be in this position too, but we could see that Dion could deal with the physical challenges. But Arthur here is the playmaker, and there are a lot of reasons that Arthur can have a good performance in this position. This is the thing that we want to say. Look at here. He's in this situation. He can pass the ball to Jordi Alba, to Ansu Fati, and if he's pressed by, for example, Maximovic here, he can have curved ball or just shift the play or give the ball to Busquets, so he can have a diagonal look over the pitch. He has his diagonal vision of the game, and he has his diagonal passes. Maybe he want to curve the ball here, because Cucurella, we talked about Cucurella, he was taking care of De Jong. Sergio Roberto was free here, and of course Busquets coming back sometimes, so Maximovic or Arambari could actually, they got back, because this wasn't a place that you want your defensive midfielder come here to open a space again for Messi. They would come back and Barcelona would have this overload. When Barcelona did that, they had six defenders, 2 midfielders and 2 attackers. So in these situations, Barcelona had this overload. Look at this overload here. This is the overload we were talking about, a 3v2. The man-to-man situation is no longer practical for Getafe, so they would come back and just actually cover the spaces. Of course, we talked about covering the spaces behind was not so successful. Messi and Griezmann would do this marking and then runs in behind. We talked about it, that dragging defenders, Getafe's defenders, out of the position, then running behind their the position that they left. Of course, sometimes we saw that Busquets coming here, and then Arthur in the middle of the game. Busquets would come here. This was really good for counter pressing, because when they lost the ball, there was a player who has a good anticipation in the game, which was Busquets here, killing the game for Getafe, not letting them have a counter attacks. Now we are talking about counter attacks. Getafe's counter attacks were simple. Just look for this space behind Alba or Firpo, and just creating a corridor near Umtiti, making a distance, and then runs in behind, moving, having long balls, and actually, or just sometimes when Alba or Firpo were here, Molina would come use this space. This is what even Ferguson did against Pep Guardiola's team, using this space between the fullback and the center back, and then using these spaces to create a lot of dangers. They actually did it sometimes. Mata was here when he caught the ball here and tried to score a goal, but Ter Stegen came out and he didn't let Mata do his thing. This was the Getafe's counter attacks actually, and the situation that they wanted to make. This is really good, good structure, good plan against teams that fullbacks are really high. Atletico Madrid did it against Liverpool at home, because Robertson and Arnold were so high. Then Morata and other players would come just here, just creating this distance. Let me show you here, and then runs in behind. This can be really dangerous for teams, but since Barcelona had a lot of players, you can see in Setien's team that they have a lot of players here attacking the ball after losing the ball, and then some players are here to actually cover the space, and then these defenders who can catch the long balls really well. So Getafe's plan wasn't really successful here because of a good counter press in Barcelona. And this is the whole game. We will talk about Setien's team more, but for now, just don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Comment any idea that you have.